this meeting of the Ethics Committee meeting to order, April the 18th. Would you call the roll?
Yes, yes, sir. Mr. Reeder.
Here.
Miss Lemaster.
Here.
Mr. Brewer.
Here.
And Miss Carter.
Present.
So we have a quorum
We have-
present,
we have a
and we can
quorum.
conduct business, Mr. Chair.
Yes, sir. We're gonna, first order of business, and the only one that I know of at this point, is to approve the acceptance of these ethics questionnaires that were sent to the 15 or so employee managers, the members of this committee, and the full board.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So,
I'll give the group a little summary of what we did. Kathy Poe and I worked to send these forms out in the first part of the year, and then get them back from staff members that are required by the policy. It's interesting to note that the board and the staff, certain staff members fill out one. The ethics committee has filled them out in the past, but are not required under the policy. So we have everyone's forms in according to the policy. I reviewed them myself and noted a couple different places on a form. I've done this myself where I overlook a question and not mark NA or write in none. So what I did was I sent an email to the applicable staff members and said, I reviewed the forms. If this is just an oversight, please let me know, and I'll mark NA with your permission. And that saves us a little bit of time in sending the form out, getting the form back, and so forth. Those folks responded to me and said that was okay to do. So I've done that, and I'll have an official copy of the forms for our records to maintain, where I've marked not applicable on those individuals' forms. So I would recommend that the committee ask for a motion to approve or accept the financial disclosure forms for 2024. That's what I have to report, and with that I'll turn it over to the committee for comments. Thank you.
I had only one question on the
Yes, sir.
forms of the employee managers, the 15 or so people. One of them, and it's not his fault, it was not a complete form. It was a mechanical error. It
Yes,
looks like. See?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Mr. Denton.
Yes, sir. That was one of the staff members I reached out to and completed the form, and he indicated to me that it was okay to mark not applicable for those questions. So
Okay.
I did that on Mr. Denton's behalf and completed that form.
That satisfies me. So,
Yes, sir.
as a member.
Yes, sir. So that's
Other discussions?
Do we need a motion?
I would suggest a motion to, I don't know, at the chair's pleasure, a motion to approve or accept the financial disclosure forms for 2024.
I can so move.
You got to have a motion to accept the financial disclosure forms for 2024. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Got a second? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none opposed, motion passes, and the forms are accepted for 2024. And I know I appreciate the board service. I know got some real experts in ethics on the committee, and certainly appreciate having folks to reach out to. As a one-stop shop myself here, I certainly appreciate having people I know I can ask questions of. So as a special meeting, that's the only item on our agenda for today. So that would conclude our business. Under the special meeting rules, we can't take up and take action on other business that's not posted on our agenda. So with that, I would ask for a motion to adjourn.
Okay.
Could I ask a question before?
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't know if that's, the information that was given to us also included the vendor list. Is that under our special call meeting as well? I just wanted to know how that list is used by us.
Yes, sir. That list is it's maintained by our support services folks, and they'll send around that list, and we don't have to take action on this, so we can talk. That list is sent around to staff periodically, and you can kind of go through there and say, for example, the folks that do the landscaping here, they also happen to do my landscaping. And as Mr. Reeder's pointed out in the past, that's kind of where where things, these unintended things that kind of come up that look, you know, look kind of like, hey, you work for the plant board, and those folks do the landscaping for the plant board, and they're at your house putting in some nice new shrubbery. Is there a question there?
Okay.
And that list helps to avoid those kinds of questions.
Good.
And then at each board meeting, we also have a point on our agenda in the first part of business where you can report on, you know, it's called financial transactions, I believe. I know Kathy can probably, but something along those lines.
Sure.
That you can report things that this probably should be disclosed publicly. So
Okay.
so
Good.
it's
I
still,
appreciate that information. Just for
Yes,
information
sir.
on my part, so I would understand how I could use that or not use it really.
Yes, sir. It's still in circulation. So yes, sir.
I would like to just add one comment here. I worked in an agency, a very big agency, much bigger than this one. For the biggest part of my career, I was highway commissioner 2 different times, and the highway department is quite a bureaucracy. And I worked there before we had an ethics code, worked there afterwards. And so what I would, and frankly, when they passed this stuff, the legislature passed it, Jill, what year was that?
93.
93.
Well, they might have passed it in 92, took effect in 93.
92 session. Yeah, put it in service in 93.
Yeah.
But whatever, you know, I was like everybody else, you know, I thought, well, this is just more harassment. You know, what can this do for me or anybody else up here, you know? And because we had our own internal method of policing these kinds of matters, that apparent conflicts or whatever. But within the ethics, within the context of these laws that were passed, and they were passed for the executive branch, you know, then the judicial branches got their own, the legislative branches got their own, and then the requirement also in the law was for agencies of local governments, counties and cities and people like that, to go ahead and enact a code of ethics and appoint a committee to administer that. And the whole intent of it was, of course, is that the reason for it is to protect the public confidence, just to create standards of conduct that the agency feels is, and the state feels are important to do, and that's all aimed at, you know, trying to bolster the public's confidence in the agency. And you'll notice that in the plant board, what I've observed since I've been over here is that it's a pretty well-run organization, and these people are not the only people affected that are on this list. Everybody in here is affected. Everybody that mows grass or turns your water on or whatever, they're all affected. But it's not practical to have this kind of a thing go on for everybody in here. So it's up to it's up to your managers, these 15 or so folks, to in turn sort of police that, if you will. It's an oft misunderstood thing, ethics. It's not. We're not a police force. We're not a court of law, civil or criminal, either one. We're just we're here to avoid things that could be misconstrued, oftentimes misconstrued. In our agency, we personally knew the folks that were that would be the subject of these kinds of inquiries, and we pretty well knew them. We keep an eye on them. There's a lot of them, directors, executive directors, people of that level, and if we had before the ethics code was passed, we took care of it ourselves. Administratively, in the very extreme, we had to turn it over to some criminal agency like the Commonwealth Attorney or the Attorney General. That being said, when this thing came along, after a time, after I got used to it, it became a very valuable tool to settle things in a very informal way And, you know, your folks need to be vigilant too, you know, out in the field, say, well, that don't quite look right, and bring that up to you all.
Sure.
Up to your level. And if y'all have a problem with, you know, an issue with that, then we can sit down and convene and take it up if it's important enough, you know, if you can't settle it. But that's what it's all about, and I found it to be a very valuable tool to have these ethics rules and so forth after I got acquainted with it. Now, not beforehand. I thought it was, I didn't think much of it. But once I got acquainted with it, then it became an additional tool that we could use to control things internally, just to keep them looking. And there may not be nothing wrong with that guy out here mowing grass. May not be a thing wrong with that. But you need to be vigilant of that kind of thing, because it can get out of hand.
Very well said. Very well said. You could have taught my class for me.
Yeah.
But, you know, sometimes you just didn't even realize there was a potential conflict there, people, I think, you know, especially with accepting things from vendors you do business with, you know, large things. I mean, you know, like, even when I started with the auditor's office right out of college, 22 years old, I remember going down to somebody we were auditing that worked for Parks and getting on their houseboat, you know, and I didn't even enter my head, and now I'd be like, oh my gosh, you know, but if there's a potential conflict there that you don't, a lot of employees never even thought about, so I think that helped them.
And I will say this, maybe I'm out of school on this, but I won't say it anyway. And that is, in my time in Frankfurt, which has been a long time, longer than I like to think sometimes, I've never seen the plant board has always been a good organization. It always has been. You know, it'd have its blips here and there, you know, but not very much, and not of anything. This is the first time the current legislative attack, I guess it's about over with right now, on the agency was something that I never saw before. But they you know, it's so well run that they didn't have any scandal to latch that on to. If they had some bad things happen for some of the people over here, could use that, that's all those kinds of folks need, or the people that would do something like that. And I mean, I may be completely out of school for doing it, but it's so well run right now that they're from the outside and everywhere else that you don't hear anything negative about any employee or any officer.
Well, we appreciate that.
That's my take, you know.
Yeah.
And so I think that being so, I think this additional tool does help in the event, you know, you have some questionable situation come up that you don't know how to deal with. That's my story for today on that.
That's great advice. Absolutely, absolutely. Well, we sure appreciate the kind words. I know all of our staff strives to do the best job we can and keep the lights on, the water going, and the internet going. Most importantly, probably your YouTube, making sure that runs. So we certainly I know the board appreciates your all's help in serving on the committee. It's an important role, like Mr. Reeder noted. In case somebody here needs advice on a situation, there are a group of people that we can turn to, and that I know, speaking personally, that's very reassuring to me. But so thank you all very, very much. But that's all that I have for today, unless anyone has any other thoughts or anything.
Thank you for doing what you did, and for
you're welcome.
You know, making sure people comply with that.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. But well, that brings us to number 4 on the agenda. I got a motion to adjourn and an adjournment. So I know that's sometimes people's favorite item.
Can I make the motion?
Yes, sir.
I didn't get to say something.
I hear Mr. Brewer with a motion to adjourn. Do I hear a second? Second. All in favor? Aye. Motion to adjourn passes. I guess we're adjourned for now, and thank you all again.